And hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. First here on the WHAS11 night team, 5 people, including a Metro police officer and a Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy, rushed to the hospital tonight after a crash in Old Louisville. It happened at First and St. Catherine Streets at about 7:45 tonight. LMPD is telling us that the officer and the Jefferson County deputy were responding separately to a shooting call when this crash happened. Both had their lights and sirens on. 2 other cars were involved in the crash. In addition to the officer and the deputy, 2 adults and a child were taken to the hospital. Now, police are telling us as far as their conditions, they're all expected to survive. A witness told us tonight it was a scary scene.
People came over saying they thought it was a gunshot. At first, I thought it was too. Even though I was there, I'm like that. I thought they shot a gun or so. I don't know, but it was so loud. And then when the cop car hit, you could hear the popping. It was bad.
By the way, police say the original 911 call about that shooting turned out to be unfounded, false, and no victims were ever found. And right here, News Tonight, cracking down on street racing in time for the Kentucky Derby crowds and traffic on our interstates and the expressways. Louisville Metro Council is making it a priority, looking to increase the fines and impound the cars on the spot. WHS 11 night team's Tom Lally covered the public safety meeting today. He's here now with details on this new ordinance. A lot of people applauding this one, Tom.
Yeah, that's right, Doug. And Metro Council made a similar ordinance happen last year, and this is a change to that one because Councilwoman Donna Purvis says they've learned since then that impounding vehicles immediately is a better deterrent than a $1,000 fine. The Waterson Expressway shut down one night with frustrated drivers blocked and looking on as street racers prepare to compete. Speeding cars, a ticking clock for Metro Council, looking to deal with street racers by Derby time.
Reckless driving exhibitions.
A new ordinance sponsored by Councilwoman Donna Purvis would allow LMPD to immediately tow cars used to block the road for street racers.
I know that some people may think that we're being a little harsh about people that just want to have fun, but it is no fun when lives are at risk of being taken.
Since a similar ordinance was passed last year, LMPD says they've towed 24 vehicles, fining drivers $1,000 for their first offense and $2,000 every time after that. It's a fine Councilman Jeff Hudson calls
are woefully inadequate to deter this type of crime.
He offered an amendment increasing the fine by 900%, bringing it to $10,000 and $20,000. But he needs to prove street racing causes that amount of damage. Otherwise, it's unconstitutional.
The loss of a single convention or a few tourists would easily justify this amount.
Still, the committee approved the ordinance without the price change for now.
I think y'all have done a great job putting this together.
I think it's a great deal.
I think it's kind of crazy, actually.
Eric Stroud says he knows from experience.
And I was a bad street racer at one point in time, I'm not gonna lie to you.
And he says fines and towing won't stop the races.
In the fines that I probably paid over $30,000 in fines over traffic tickets.
But others, like Dominique Harris, disagree.
I think it's a good deal.
She grew up in West Louisville and says new restrictions might help keep cruising during derbies safe.
You can see the people that's actually enjoying Derby, and then you can see the people that's on something else, basically.
The changes aren't official just yet. They'll be heard in Metro Council's meeting next week ahead of the Derby. And just to be clear, it will not include that huge increase in fines, though that could come at a later date. Doug?
All right, Tom, thank you so much. Well, we have also learned today that Metro Police Officer Nicholas Wilt, who was shot in the head while racing toward the gunfire at Old National Bank last Monday, is now also fighting pneumonia. Officer Wilt's family sharing the update on the Metro Police Foundation Facebook page today. They say pneumonia is common after patients have been on a ventilator. He remains in critical condition at U of L Hospital. During an interview here today on WHAS 11 News at 5, I asked Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg about this latest development for Wilt, and he praised the medical care that the officer is getting.
There's no better place for him to be. We are continue to send our prayers to he and his family on a speedy recovery there. We'll continue to provide updates as they're made available. His family has had tremendous support from LMPD, from all of his colleagues, from our city government and from our city. And I think that is helping them get through this as we continue to work for Officer Wilt's recovery.
In the message on Facebook, Officer Wilt's family asked for continued prayers and your healing thoughts. New tonight on the night team, 2 crosses now stand at Chickasaw Park where 2 people were killed and 4 others were hurt in our city's second mass shooting that happened Saturday night. One of those killed was 17-year-old David Huff. Kumar Rashad, a teacher at Breckenridge Metro High School and Louisville Metro Council member, became close with Huff through his mentoring group called Men of Quality.
He was funny, he was energetic, he was really smart. Just a real pleasure to be around. All of our kids knew David, and it's really hard on all of us.
While Huff left the group in January, Rashad says it's difficult knowing that he'll never see him again. He's now focusing on supporting Huff's family. Following 2 mass shootings in the 3rd District, Congressman Morgan McGarvey spoke during the weekly Democratic Caucus News Conference in Washington. He reflected on the day of the Old National Bank shooting, saying he was in Washington with his children when he heard the news.
There was no sugarcoating it. And I said, I have to go. There's been a mass shooting. And all the color drained from my 5th grade daughter's face. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh no, which school?" That shouldn't be the reaction from our children.
His calls for action have echoed across the country. Look at this scene out of Tennessee tonight, where hundreds of people formed a human chain throughout downtown Nashville to advocate for stronger gun safety. Organizers were hoping for 5,000 participants. And new tonight, state senators in Indiana have advanced a bill to provide state funding for teachers who want firearms training. Right now, teachers in some Indiana school districts already bring a gun to school with district approval. This bill would pay for a specific training curriculum for those teachers. They would be required to have 40 hours of the specified training and undergo a psychological evaluation. If the bill becomes law, the list of participants would be confidential, even from police. And that's something opponents in Indiana say could put teachers in danger. Supporters say arming teachers would keep kids safer if there was a school shooting.
This bill is an acknowledgement that every day we're sending our teachers and our kids into a war zone, into a life or death situation, and all we can offer is 40 hours of training and maybe some thoughts and prayers.
And these kids' lives are precious. And we got to quit worrying about the gun. We got to think about the human component. That's what we're dealing with. We have a meanness in our society, an evilness in the society.
The bill passed the Indiana Senate 42-8. Senators did make some changes to that bill, so it now must go back to the House for approval. All new here on the night team, the city of Jeffersonville is looking to find the next chapter for the abandoned Jeff Boat shipbuilding site. Tonight was an opportunity for the public to give their input once again. WHAS 11 night team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Ian Hardwitt look at what could be a project that transforms Jeffersonville.
Parking again for the marina, ability to move boats in and offshore.
Dozens of Hoosiers weighing in on the future of development in Jeffersonville. The city is partnering with the American Commercial Barge Line to bring back life to the former Jeff Boat site, about 100 acres of land.
The demand for housing, demand for new entertainment, the demand along the river. It's hard to find a piece of property like that.
And this area used to be home to the prolific Jeff Boat shipbuilding, and now ACB looks to transform it by bringing more entertainment and attractions to the area.
But I like the fact that there's a lot of entertainment, there's a lot of green space, and the walking paths.
On the other hand, there are some mixed feelings from other Jeffersonville residents like Tim Haley.
It seems like a very polite extension of the community without necessarily revolutionizing the town. You know, it'd be nice to see something ambitious.
2 concepts of the project were shown in the meeting. This new development would be home for residential living, entertainment, and office space.
Think broadly about what would this mean if we could bring a business in from another community, Indy, Chicago, maybe even San Francisco.
A way to bring more people to the city.
And so you offer so much more opportunity to continue that bike ride, to continue that walk along the river.
I like the indoor mixed-use facility. I thought that was kind of cool. I hadn't seen anything like that in this area before.
A final plan is still a few months away in Jeffersonville. Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Now, back in January, Jeffersonville Mayor Mike Moore said his city grew for decades because of Jeff Boat, and he said he does not want to see the property used as an industrial site ever again in the future. Instead, he'd like to see public access on the property with the Ohio River Greenway expanded with a walking trail. Safety is top of mind for this year's Thunder over Louisville, and law enforcement in southern Indiana say they are ready for Saturday. Police in Jeffersonville say there will be several security teams walking around, patrolling the river in southern Indiana and watching security cameras. All told, there will be hundreds of people working to keep people safe.
For those that are planning on attending Thunder over Louisville, we ask that you respect everyone around you, you respect the laws, and have a great time. Thunder is a special event in our community, and we look forward to it every year.
With bridges, side streets, and even some interstates closed, traffic is always top of mind. Tomorrow, Metro Louisville gives its Thunder plan, and we'll be covering it for you. To stay up to date on traffic information and updates from emergency officials in southern Indiana, they've created this special way for you to do it. You can text the words Thunder IN23. You see it right there on your screen. Again, Thunder IN23 to this number 226-787. Now, across the river at Waterfront Park, vendors started setting up for this year's Chow Wagon. They'll have everybody's favorites, from those corn dogs to funnel cakes and elephant ears. What you expect at the Chow Wagon food menu. The Chow Wagon opens April 27th and will continue through May 5th.